While devoted to holy man Sri Satya Sai Baba, Jagadisan of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, has suffered enormous tragedies. First the loss of his wife, and then the loss of his son. Here, Jagadisan finds spiritual perspective for his life. Welcome to SOULJOURNS. This interview was recorded in Grants Pass, Oregon, in July of 2004. Jaga, thank you very much for making yourself available on very short notice. And if I may be so bold, I would like to ask you right at the top to recount some of your own personal experiences of the last several years, of the last several months of tremendous personal loss in the shadow of Sai Baba, and how you have found your way through that darkness.
Okay. I think, as I mentioned earlier today, as you know, I came from a background, I was born in a Hindu family, but became an atheist very early in life, an agnostic, and thinking that God is imagination, religion is just, opium for the people. And until then, Baba came in my life, and I was a strong anti-Sai Baba, and a miracle happened, and then I realized, hey, look, there's a force beyond science. And this force is a force that you can reach out to and will respond. It is then I went into Baba's teachings, and then I realized what Baba's message is to the world. He said, there's only one God for all mankind. You call him by different names. Number two, follow your religion. He says a Christian must become a better Christian. Hindu must become better Hindu. Buddhist better Buddhist. Number three, he says respect and revere all religions, because all come from the same one God. All ask you to do the same thing. Number four, he says, follow values in life. Follow values in your own life and try to promote these values in society, where values are now rapidly declining. And number five, do service for humanity, selflessly. This is the essence of his teaching. 5 drops of the ocean, I call it. In my own life, therefore, since I became involved with Swami at the age of 32, now I'm 60, so you can see I've gone a long way. I've tried to implement this, and in Malaysia, for example, which is an Islamic nation, and a lot of restrictions are there, in terms of a lot of things. But in Malaysia, it's a beautiful nation with a lot of interracial harmony, interreligious harmony. We have today, if you go to Malaysia and ask which people are involved in human value programs, Sai Baba, automatically. And if you ask who's in the forefront of interfaith, interreligious harmony, Sai Baba. It is because so, as Christ said, no, by your work you'll be known. So today, in the government circles in Malaysia, in the religious circles in Malaysia, we are recognized and respected, for what we have done. Basically because the Christ message, by your work you'll be known. Not by the talk, Baba, whatever, we can claim Baba to be anything. Avatar, God, holy man, but who cares? Unless they see that the rest of the world must see that because of this particular personality's appearance in the world must benefit. We must benefit, and we must show the world that we have transformed. The greatest message Baba has done in my life is not the miracles Baba has done so much in Malaysia. Around the world you see in Malaysia holy ash pouring from pictures, you see materialization taking place far out of Baba's physical presence. But the greatest miracle is transformation of man, to transform very selfish individuals, to become caring and for the community, for the people that they're with. So like this, my greatest challenges in life has been to try to implement action programs, agenda of action in Malaysia and whoever wants to listen, So before I come to my personal, one of my greatest experiences is this, the fact that Malaysia is a Muslim country, we were able to break through many of the restrictions and suspicions of people by simply selfless service. We went down and served and served and served. And finally, people who were very suspicious initially, why you're doing this, began to say, hey, these guys are okay. They are doing very good work and helping everybody, and they're not having any personal agenda. That was the whole question of selfless service, You see, today when I look around the world and I see many many service going on by many Sai organizations. And I ask myself, what's happening? What are we doing now? You know? And we do old folks home or soup kitchen or sandwiches. You know? I said, look, the 1,000 other NGOs are doing the same thing. And how come we are doing the same thing? You mean the others are doing the same thing without an avatar, a God-man coming and telling them to do? We need a God-man to come and tell us to do the same thing others are doing? We must be doing something else. So what is why has he come? If we believe he's an avatar, a divine incarnation, why has he come? Then I realized the two things now in the world today that governments are unable to handle, that religious leaders are unable to handle. What is it? That needs a divine intervention. That is the decline of values, pervasive decline of values. And you see the everyday newspapers scream at us, on what's happening, promiscuity, youth misbehavior, drugs and sexuality, this and the other. And people are unable to handle this. And long before all this became major problem in the world, Baba has already talked about the human value program. He says we must, so in Malaysia we launched a massive, pervasive value program into society in a very fun way, See, youth, we cannot tell the youth, you must behave yourself or you go to hell. They'll say, heaven is, after hell is full of adults, so why you worry, But we must therefore make values fun for the youth, okay, and exciting for the youth. And that's what we did in Malaysia. We made values, we had we had a human value drama festivals, human value song festivals. We made values a fun thing for the youth. The other great challenge is, people weren't aware of this until September 11th, okay, 9/11, where we found for the first time in human civilization, religions are staring each other across oceans, in hostility and fear. I mean, and can you imagine if you're God, okay, and you're sitting there in heaven or wherever, and you're sent great God-men or incarnations and holy men, and you have come yourself, send your son or whatever it is, to create so many religions. For what? To create peace and harmony. And suddenly you find that the very religions that you have sent, you've created through your messiahs or whatever is the cause of the greatest problem and fear in the world today. So if you're God, what do? Hey, I better come down and sort this out myself, okay? So Swami has manifested here, and he, don't forget, after September 11th, many groups got together, interfaith dialogues, as a reaction to a crisis. But here we are, Satsya organization is already an interfaith organization set up there by Swami to create interfaith unity. And Swami says unity is divinity. So we in Malaysia launched massive interfaith programs. So today we have got something called the Friendship Group for Interreligious Service. We've got the Catholic Church with us, we've got the Muslims with us, we've got the Buddhists, the Hindus, the Sikhs, and the Council of Churches representing the Protestant groups, all together doing service, and we are leading the whole program. And they're prepared and they're happy to accept our leadership because they know we have no agenda. And last year we launched two major, one medical camp, interfaith, it's called a Friendship with Interreligious Medical Camp. So many people do medical camps. In Malaysia, the Sai group itself, we have done about 80 or 90 medical camps in Malaysia. But now is no more a medical camp per se. It is a medical camp. The purpose of this to create interreligious harmony. So all the Christians will send doctors, and Muslims, Then we had a day for the handicapped children. We had about 400 handicapped children, and all the religions got together. This year in 04, we are organizing two medical camps in different states of Malaysia, and one, for the first time, we are organizing an interfaith human values song and drama festival, where each religious group will present the human value drama. So like this, so for me this has been a very exciting thing, and in a country like Malaysia, Islamic nation, for us to be able to do this. Now, how? Though there are many restrictions in Malaysia of how we should interact because of a Muslim country, but always I find, listen, I just say, if I think I'm doing this, we'll fail. Mm-hmm. But I'm instrument, Swami is your mission, I'm instrument, use me. Then we go and do, and all the opposition from governments and religion all begin to fall. People can see our sincerity. We just do and do and do. And today we have a fantastic situation. For me, this has been a great source of inspiration and we tried to share this. So the same program, the Interfaith one, I took it to Fiji. Mm-hmm. And in Fiji now we launched a massive, the Fiji group heard, and they had an Interfaith seminar there, and I challenged all the religious leaders, we may not be able to pray in each other's hall of prayer, but outside in God's hall, we can hold hands and serve.
That's great.
And everyone agreed, and the Prime Minister of Fiji came for the function, And you won't believe this. For the first, you must get this thing. I can send to you by email. Pankatam must have this. That the Prime Minister of Fiji in Parliament, in a major policy speech, mentioned, I think the first time ever in any parliament in the world, he said, the Satyasai organization, what they're doing here, what they are doing here is more valuable than all the words spoken by us in this house.
That's unbelievable.
Spoken by the Prime Minister of Fiji, a Christian Prime Minister of Fiji. And recently we launched this thing. And so, it is simple. By selflessly doing work only, we can manifest the mission of why Baba has manifested.
Baba's programs have helped countries in crisis. Baba's programs have helped peoples in crisis. How has his guidance helped you in crisis?
Right. For me, you see, firstly, of course, that life, many people in this world live a life, monodimensional life, I tell people, one day I was giving a talk, I said, what's the difference between me and my dog? Born, eat, sleep, mate, work, die. That's it. We both do the same thing, Then I thought, oh, hold on, I wear clothes. But darn it, the Americans, put clothes on dogs, So now even dogs have clothes, So what's the difference, between us and the animal? That we have a capacity to care for others beyond our own realm, okay? So for me, this joy he has given me, incredible love around the world. Selfless people doing it. For me, this is the first main satisfaction. And I find there is a saying that Baba has said, very interesting here. This is all religions also. But in Hinduism, there's something called Nishkama Karma. That means selfless service. And it's called, that's some word called Yoga Shema. That means the voice of divine telling us, you dedicate yourself to me and I will look after you. Very interesting, huh? Now,
no matter what the test.
Right. This is a very interesting thing. Now, therefore, in my own life, I found incredible success, in my work career, what have you, and I spend a lot of my free time, in a lot of social work. Okay. Yet my career-wise, has been a fantastic, and many other people in Malaysia have experienced this. Okay. But this does not mean that we don't face personal challenges in life. I tell people, listen, don't think just because you're praying to God or because you're doing service, you are spared, from the tragedies of life, Look at Christ. Are you greater than Christ? Christ suffered. Look at how he suffered, my God, Look at what happened to Buddha. What happened to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Every great saint or holy man, went through. Look at Gandhi. What happened to him? But what is the lesson we learn from them? Is that, come what may, the concept of your will be done, not mine. This is the great thing, That means the greatest lesson spirituality teaches us. Every religion is, you cannot stop the hurricane of life, because we created it by last count. We do something negative and we are caught in hurricane now. It's going us round and round and we're saying, God, please stop this hurricane, stop the hurricane. And God will reply, my son, why should I? You created it. You created your own life. Why should you created it? I can't, then why should I pray to you? Why should I do all this? Why should I follow your teachings? My son, why? Because it teaches you how to stand in the eye of the hurricane. This is the greatest challenge. One thing Baba said is, the measure of my devotee is success or failure, victory or defeat, happiness or joy. Remain unattached. In my personal life, I've gone through incredible tragedies. Lot of success, lot of failure, lot of happiness. 1996. We were there at Baba's in Whitefield in Puttaparthi for the birthday celebrations. And 96 was the year where I was the central youth coordinator at the time. I was central coordinator of my region in Asia region at the time. And I was given two great challenges that perhaps no other central coordinator was given. In November when I left, November 25th when I left Prashanthi Nilayam, I took with me two challenges. Number one, to organize in February next year, 97, the first ever Chinese New Year celebration in Puttaparthi, and in July, the first ever World Youth Conference. So two major responsibilities were given, and I was wondering how to do it, and I leave Prashanthi Nilayam on 25th with the huge two challenges. As I reach Madras airport, I receive a telephone call from the agency there. My daughter's on the line, and she says, Papa, Amma passed away.
Your wife?
Yeah, my wife passed away. Friends, I mean, this was unreal because, I mean, my wife was the healthiest person in the world. You know, I've never known her ill for just even one day.
And you talked about your huge love for her.
I tell you, I mean, I had tremendous love for my wife. Okay, you know, it was incredible. And I was stunned. I mean, in the listening to this, and I didn't know what to say. If anybody else, you know, telling this, I would have said, "What nonsense you're talking," you know. But my daughter was telling this. Anyway, I gotten aboard the flight, and you won't believe it's unreal. As I'm flying, and I'm thinking to myself, no, okay, this is a dream. I'm dreaming this. I'm going to sleep now. I'm going to go back to sleep now, and I'm going to get up. I'll be back in Prashanti, and everything is a dream. You won't believe 3 times, you know, during the flight, I tried to go back to sleep, desperately hoping that this is a dream I'm going through, nightmare I'm going through. I will get up, you know. And it was after the 3rd time I realized, you know, that it is real. I mean, I was going away off my mind, I thought. And then I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to talk a bit like a madman, okay, but you judge me what I am, okay. And as I thought, okay, Swami, listen, all right, I'm praying, I'm thinking now, they must not embalm the body. If they don't embalm the, I'll bring her back. I said, if there are so many stories, no, Christ and many Indians, about the great Indian saints have brought dead back to life, you know, and Swami can do it, okay. So I'm going to, but if they don't embalm the body, I'll bring her back, you know. I'm going to cry to God and bring all the angels down and bring her back. So I still remember when I got down in KL, and I went out into and my uncles all were standing there, you know, and the first question I asked them, have you embalmed the body? They said, yes, I caught them, but crazy it was. Anyway, I went to the house, and my wife was lying in state, and I cried. No, I cried and cried and cried. And now by the time I reached there, it's already about more than 12 hours. And so all of the others have already got over there. My children got over there. Now they're all trying to support me. And I know I should not cry. I'm supposed to be a spiritual leader there. And now people are crying because I'm crying. And I'm fighting this, and I'm fighting. No, I mustn't cry. Jaga, you're a spiritual leader. Show strength. But the more I'm fighting, the more I'm crying, you know. And then my heart began to pain. I felt really pain. So I just went upstairs to my room, locked the door, and I lay in it. There's a pose in yoga called the death pose, okay. I lay in the yoga, I said, okay, take me, I said. You guys, you think I'm afraid of you? That was a mad thing. You know? You think I'm afraid? Take me, I said. You think I'm scared? Take me. But you know, you don't die when you want to die. No, it takes your own time, okay.
You wanted to be with your wife.
Yeah, I mean at that moment, it looked like, you know, that, okay, that I should, do this, you know. And no, I wasn't going to commit suicide, no, but my if time can take me, I'm not scared. You think I'm scared? Anyway, then I came down again. I knew I was going to. I just couldn't help me. I'm just crying. And what saved me was that this is where Baba came to my rescue. What saved me was I heard a voice as clear as I hear your voice. The voice said like this: "Hey, listen, hey, who are you not to cry?" This voice so loud, I couldn't believe this. Who are you not to cry? He said. The voice said, using my own tradition, it said, "Hey, who are you not to cry? When Sita was captured, Rama cried. When Lakshmana was wounded, Rama cried. When Abhimanyu was Arjuna was a great warrior in the Mahabharata. When Abhimanyu was killed, Arjuna cried. Who are you not to cry? Cry, but don't forget your dharma, your duty." Then I let go. I stopped fighting it again. For 2 days I didn't have so much tears in my eyes. I cried. Now then, what happened was, see, this is the love of the Sai family, devotion. People are stunned around the world. Okay, they flew in from Japan, they flew in from Singapore, Hong Kong, they flew in. Now, when I was traveling from Prashanti to Chennai airport, before I heard about, thinking of this the responsibility I've got to organize the first ever Chinese New Year program, I knew I had to get together people from Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, all together as a task force together, you see, to bring them together to organize this Chinese New Year program. So, but then the next day, my wife's body was cremated. And coming back from the crematorium, and I realized that, oh my God, all the people I need to organize Chinese New Year program, this is November 26th, on February, are there in KL. Brother, that evening at 6 p.m., I'm crying, and I held the first Chinese New Year meeting. People are stunned. They said, "Jaga, don't do this." I said, "No, listen, if one person's tragedy can hold back or delay a program greater than all of us, because all my life, many years I'm thinking of having this Chinese New Year program in Prashanti, because I wanted the Chinese to feel that Baba is theirs also, I told him, if one person's tragedy can hold back or delay a program, because we haven't got time, it's only about December and January, I got two months, then what is the use of spirituality? I said, let's have this meeting, I said. So can you imagine, it was the most incredible meeting, because I look back and I remember I was crying, everybody was crying and taking notes, but then I told them, now I assigned them various duties to do, the different countries, you do this, you do this. Then I said, now leave me alone for 1 month, because we got a 1 month, at that 1 month I'm not supposed to go to bhajans or a temple or whatever. We've got 1 month mourning period. We have prayers every day in the house, okay, for the departed one. Then, so that was the chant. Then what happened was, this was the big drama of Swami. Around about the 15th day after that, I decided, we took some ashes from my, and went to Prashanti. Now, this is the incredible drama of Swami's omnipresence, omniscience. The world must know this, okay? You see, whenever I've heard of many stories, of people dying, passing, and then when the loved ones go to Swami will tell, yes, he's with me, I was there, all this, okay? So when I went there, I knew, I was quite expecting that Swami would say all this. Okay, so I went there, and a lot of things happened, I won't go into details there. But finally Swami called me and my family in, and as I went into the room, and I was about to cry, and because seeing my father, after my loss, hey, Jagadish, he said, don't cry, where's your spirituality, he said. What a question to ask me. Then he asked me, who was wife before marriage? I told him, who was mother before you were born? How many mothers have you had in your lifetimes? How many wives you've had lifetime? Don't cry. Then he materialized a lot of things, for my children. He gave them rings, he gave them pendants, and he materialized a ring for me and what have you. And I knew what he was doing. He was trying to comfort us again. Then he called us inside for the inner and that is when the most dramatic thing took place. Don't forget, I'm expecting him to say she was with me and what have you, okay? This is all I'm expecting. And then Swami says, Jagadish, you know how your wife used to pray to me? She'll pray, Swami, I want to merge with you, I want to merge with you, I want to merge with you. Her time came. Now this is very interesting about this. Swami has said, the moment we are born, every human being is born, the date of departure is fixed, except that's invisible to us. He says, not your doctor, your medical science, nothing can change the date. So I want to understand that. So for me, now for the children now, by the way, I must tell you, when my wife passed away, my children found her, okay? Now they found her in a very funny situation. They found her in a Pada Namaskar position. You know what the Pada Namaskar? Yes. As though bending down and touching somebody's feet. She was in that position when they found her, okay? Touching in the position of reverence at somebody's feet. This is very interesting. The children of the first one found her in that position, right? And then of course they tried to revive her, and she's gone. Now come back to this room now. We're in the interview with Swami, and Swami said, Jagadish, your wife used to pray, I want to merge with you, merge with you. Then her time came. I was there. This I was expecting. Then he said, Jagadish, she did this to me. He got up and demonstrated the Pada Namaskar position. And then she came to me. This was the stunning thing, when Swami got up and bent down and demonstrated physically in front of my children, the Pada Namaskar position. For me, for my children, this was the point of healing, And for me, it's devastating because, it was, it is incredible, that he should do this, and tell us that, okay, if a person's time has come, but he really was there. It's not just any other story he was telling, that he told 100 other people. This was really one of the incredible moments, of our life. And there was a healing moment for my children. The healing moment for the children was that one, okay? If mother had to go, then really Baba was really there, Not just he's telling them to comfort them,
And he put you in the eye of that storm, and then he soon put you in the eye of another storm.
Okay. This was this was in 96, Then 97 we had this that went very well, the two programs. Okay, 98, 99, then came year 2000. In the year, my mother, another most important people in my life, my wife, my mother, who stayed with me all my life. And another person called Uncle Nadraja in Malaysia was like next to Baba. He was a very great spiritual man. So can you imagine, November, I'm going to November 1996. I leave Prashanti and go home. My wife in state. Okay. In November 2002. Exact same incident happened. November 26th, I'm leaving Prasanthi. I take Padma from Baba. Baba gives me Vibhuti. I go home. My mother is lying in state. My children ask me, Baba, surely God has a different scenario, can do a different scenario. How do it's exactly like lightning striking twice, This November. Then January, this uncle of mine who was so close, to me, who was really next to Baba, he was like a mentor and guide to me. He passed away. And when he passed away, many people were more concerned of my reaction than even the family's reaction again. And February, my youngest son, 23-year-old, he passed away in a most tragic circumstance.
This was last year.
Last year. November last year. No, not last year, this year.
This year.
This year in February. In February this year, he passed away. He was under heavy depression, The guy was a very nice boy, very nice boy, gentle boy. He had some depression kind of syndrome, and he was admitted to the hospital, and they were treating him, and he recovered very well. I mean, he was so nice, recovered. In fact, he saved somebody in that ward, who was going to commit suicide. I mean, this guy went and held his hand, and they were going to. And then the last day he was leaving, he said, "Papa, can you come a bit later? Because he's an MC for a public function they're having in the hospital. The doctors were organizing some sort of, and they asked him to be the MC for that. So he was going to MC. So I went there, took him. Doctor said, "He's fine. Take medication. Okay now." Took him home that evening. Then evening he went out. We had a big family gathering. Next morning he came, as I'm going about early morning, I had my prayers, and then suddenly early morning he just walked into my room after he had a bath. He came into my room. He joined me for my prayers. I took him out into the garden. I went and plucked. He followed me. I plucked flowers, Then he came, asked me to sing a song. He sang a song, Then I go to office. I say, "I'll see you in the evening, son." At 4 o'clock in the office, I hear news that he has jumped off a building and committed suicide. That was a very shattered many people, especially many of the youth were shattered.
How old was he?
23. And the funny thing is, my aunties, I had an auntie across the road, and he went across that morning after I left. He went across. He was with them, and you can imagine he prayed with me. Then that morning they wanted to go to temple. He went with them to the temple. He prayed. He had the most spiritual day in his whole life, And then he came back home. He was watching television. Then he was so good and so normal. They thought. Then he said he'll just go for a walk, and come back. My auntie told him, "Okay, be back in 1 hour's time, because Dad's going to come. We want to take you out." He went, and that's it. So this was an incredible blow, okay. And but the thing is now, everybody expects me to see. Have you seen the movie Matrix?
Yes.
Okay, good. You see, what happens now? I tell people nowadays, You see, in my own evolution of spirituality, let me share you how it has happened. At first, I thought spirituality meant, seeking excellence in whatever you do. That's spirituality. Whatever you do, do dharma, seeking excellence. As I evolved, I realized spirituality meant not only seeking excellence in what you do, you seek excellence, but sometimes whatever excellence you do, you may not get the result you want, and you get disappointed, okay? So then, seek excellence in whatever you do, but dedicating every act to God. Then you don't seek the fruits of your action. You do, and God, your will be done. That was second phase of my evolution. Then I realized that even we do excellence, we dedicate to God, a lot of things happen in life that will blow you, that can hurt you. And then the life is, then I realized it's like a whirlwind, that you got to stand in the eye of the hurricane. But then I realized that even as you stand in the eye of the hurricane, watching this world around you going round and all the world problems, sometimes a hand will come from the hurricane and smash you as you stand there. The message to me was, this happens, when it happens, and I'm telling the world now, don't fall on your face and grovel, oh God, why is happening to me, You fall like the Matrix. One leg you fall, one knee, ready to leap up again. Like the Matrix movie had this guy, this Neo, Exactly, it should be a Matrix fall. You fall like the Matrix guy, ready to leap up again, because this is the challenge of life. And people are wondering how come I'm going as though I'm not blaming God or anything, for this, I said, listen, very simple. Life is like a dark journey, Why is it dark? It's unknown, that's all. You don't know what's happening tomorrow. You could be, and it could be tomorrow, could be disease, or could be disaster, could be health, or some loved one going. So then you need some light, to walk this journey of life. And you pray, God, I need light, and then light is there. The light is there showing you now, because this journey has got a lot of holes in it, and swamps, and rocks, and bushes, and beautiful gardens also are there, but you don't know where to go. So the light is there showing your way. But then beside you, walking with you in this journey of life, is your father, mother, sister, husband, wife, children, everybody. As you're walking one by one, they fall, They fall, because why? Go back to another thing that Baba said. Baba said, understand, Baba said only very interesting lesson he said. Again, one of the beautiful things I use as a guide in my life is this. Swami says, the secret of spirituality is to understand the whole world, whole life is drama. I said, Swami, what do you mean by that? It sounds like Shakespeare, saying that all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. That is true, because all of us are playing a role all the time. For example, sir, you are playing a role of a husband in your house. You can't play the same role outside your home, okay? In your office, you play a role as what job you do. With your mother, you play a role as a son. With your uncle, you play a role as a nephew. With your friends, so we're playing many roles, And oddly enough, depending upon the role we play, our costumes change. At home, we're wearing something else. In the office, we're wearing something else. You can't bring your office role to the house, okay? And if you're going swimming, you're playing something else. Every role we play, we change our costume. Now, that is the secret to understand. That means that the secret of spirituality is to understand the whole life is a drama. That each of us are playing a role. The secret of happiness is to play your role well. That means you play your role well as the best son, as the best father, as the best mother. Whatever it is, your role you play well. Become your hero. See, become a hero in your own drama, Because we are the heroes. Every person in this world is a hero in his own drama. Can you imagine you become a villain in your own drama? In your own drama of life, And can you imagine people living in this world, if they ultimately write their own autobiography, it is so boring, you don't want to read your own stories. Make your story an exciting challenge. And this is the message that Swami has given me. To make your story, your life, you are the hero of your own drama. You become the hero, become the villain. So this particular lesson, the secret of spirituality is to understand the whole life is drama. The secret of happiness, play your role well. So likewise now in this particular drama of life, in a stage like Romeo and Juliet, you like that role of a guy called Tybalt, for example. Tybalt, one of the fear. Now suddenly Tybalt, halfway through the drama, Tybalt gets killed. Brilliant actor, beautiful guy. You can't say, I want Tybalt back, because his lines are over. He's got to go, you can't, you're crying or whatever it is, cannot, his line's over. Likewise now in life, my son's line is over. He finished, his role is over, And Omar Khayyam, said, the moving finger writes, having writ moves on. Neither your tears nor tears can bring back one drop, one inch of it, okay? Like this. But you see, because of the fact that my mother is falling, my wife is falling, I still need that light. My journey is not ended yet. My role is not over yet, okay? I still need that light.
Jaga, one final question. Sai Baba has thrown to you many lessons. He's thrown to you many tests. You are still on your feet.
Yeah.
Who is this Sai Baba?
You see, one day somebody asked me this question. They asked me, I wrote, in a book I wrote, called Question Answers, and I asked this question I asked myself those days. A question asked, somebody asked me, is Baba God? So I asked this question, listen, I have not seen God. So what is the definition of God? If for a Christian, it looked like somebody like Christ. Like a Hindu, it will be somebody looking like Rama. For a Chinese, it look like somebody else. No. So nowhere in the scriptures of the world is God described by physical features. But in every scripture of the world, God is described by his characteristics. Love, compassion, omniscience, omnipresence. He can create, he can destroy, he can move things, he can be manipulated one time. So he can bring the dead back to life, So these, the scriptures of the world, whether Hindu scriptures or Muslim scriptures or Christian scriptures, describe God by his characteristics. Imagine now, suddenly there's one person in the world who's displaying not to one or two people, but to millions, all the characteristics that man has ascribed to divinity. So we have here walking someone who's an incarnation of a divine, I call it a divine principle. Why I say that? I don't use the word God, you know why? Because God, if I have a room full of people and I say think of God, everybody will think of a different image, you know. The Christian will think of Christ, I mean the Hindus will think of a whole bunch of God forms, okay. They'll think of Krishna, they'll think of Rama, they'll think of Subramaniam, you know. So God himself will be under anti-crisis, you know, who I am, you know. So because the word God creates a condition reflex. So I'm trying to remove the condition reflex, okay. So I say, alright. So that we have one person in the world today who is manifesting not to one or two but to millions, all the characteristics of divinity that man had ascribed divinity. So he's an incarnation of a divine principle. Now, anyone wants to prove it, go and experience yourself, you see. So for me, he is such a divine force, okay, that is manifested on this earth. And he is guiding us. Doesn't mean that because he guides us, you know, we will not face problems in life, you know. That is part of the karmic challenge we've got. But I still need that light. He is a light that guides me. He is a light that tells me things I can do. I can rise above mediocrity, you know, and achieve something great, something significant. And the basic, ultimately, dear brother, what is it now man seeks in life? Two things. In Sanskrit it's called sukha and shanti. Peace and happiness and contentment.
And is this light accessible to everyone?
Yes. The light is accessible to everybody, except that it's like H2O, you know. Water is accessible to everybody. But now you must know where to dig for that water. You can't say, water, I want water, and water is not going to come, okay? Either you're a scientist who brings 2 parts of hydrogen, 1 part of oxygen together, you get water. Or you dig a hole, you get water. Or you go seeking for a river to get water, is it? Likewise, the same divine water, this is nectar. But people must search for this. Where is the formula for searching for this? In the scriptures, you know, it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, it's in the Dhammapada. And then is it the other different thing? No, you look at this now. I mean, the way we pray, a person prays, the way the people pray in a church is different from how they pray in a mosque. The words they say may be different, the language is different, you know. It's different from how they say in a temple. But the amazing thing is this: the moment where a Christian in a church, the Buddhist in a Buddhist temple, a Muslim in a mosque, or a Christian in a church, or a Hindu in a Hindu temple, the moment they walk out of the hall of prayer, what they expected to do to get God's grace exactly the same. The 10 commandments relevant to everybody, whether it's a Christian, Buddhist, no. The Hindu, what the thing, Mada, Pida, Guru Devam, you know, Mother, Father, Teacher, God, is also relevant to honor thy father and mother. The commandments actually are very simple, you know. It's just that we have compromised, we choose not to follow. Mm-hmm. And therefore, and how do you know God has come in your life? Very simple question. How do you know God is not going to come, you know, in heavenly form in front of you, you know, depending upon your tradition, you know, and tell you, you know, this and the other, because you will collapse and have a heart attack if God comes in front of you. How do you know? For me, is the peace and contentment that you have in life, you know. Come what may, hey, God, you're with me. And you must become manifestation. If you believe that God is love, you must become manifestation of love. If you become God is peace, you must become manifestation of peace. Then God is with you.
Jagadish, thank you very much. And Sairam.
Sairam, Sairam.
We will take part in the annual sport. Respecting and abiding by